Now we will discuss algae. It's the after bacteria, it's the another type of microorganism. So just first we have to know about the basic characteristics of the algae. Number one, they are simple plant-like organisms but having no roots, stem or leaves. In general, plants body are divided into root, stem or leaves or so many parts they have. But in algae, they are simple plant-like but they don't have this type of parts. Number two, they have cell walls. Cell walls means their cell are provided with a thin wall. Whenever we study the basic structure of cell, we have to learn it in details that what is cell walls. And chlorophyll also present within the cells. We know that chlorophyll means the green pigment which is very useful or which is necessary for the photosynthesis process. Number three, as chlorophyll present, they make their own food by photosynthesis, so they are autotrophic. It means that they are not dependent on any other living organism for food, so they are autotrophic. Then they live in water. It means they are aquatic in nature and at moist places. Moist places means damp places. Some are found in snow and some in hot springs also. They can be unicellular or multicellular. Okay, unicellular, multicellular means their body is made up of so many cells or single cell. Unicellular or multicellular. Their sizes ranges from 1 micron to several meters in length. Their body sizes maximum range is about 1 micron to few meters. Now types. On the basis of pigment present, it means that when the pigment present on the algae we already studied, on this basis they are classified into two types, green algae and blue green algae. You have to just learn some examples of green algae or blue green algae. Green algae example, Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogyra and Eulothrix. Whereas blue-green algae examples are Oscillatoria and Anabena. One thing you have to remember, whenever you write this example, you have to underline it because they are the scientific names. Okay, so I have underlined it, you have to do the same. Blue-green algae are mainly single cell, means their body is made up of single cell. Colonial autotrophs. Colonial means they live in colony or in aggregated form, not single or individually they live. And autotrophs means we already know, means they are also able to produce their own food, having primitive cell structure. Their cell structure is not so complex. Another type is diatoms. Diatoms are marine algae, means they are found in the ocean or seawater, single celled that can float on the water. Okay, their cell wall composed of transparent opaline silica. Diatoms are the specialized marine algae whose cell wall composed of transparent opaline silica and they can float on the water. They are diatoms. They are specialized marine algae. Next, the question is given that why algae are autotrophic in nature. So you have to write this, that due to the presence of chlorophyll pigment, they make their own food by photosynthesis, so they are autotrophic in nature. The answer is given here. You have to write it. Next, uses of algae. Algae are used in several purposes. Number one is that in medicine purpose. Antibiotic medicines are prepared from algae. An example is also given here, chlorelin. Number two, in industry several kinds of chemicals are produced from algae. For example, agar, sodium, potassium, iodine. These chemicals are used mainly in different kinds of laboratory or any other purposes. Sodium, potassium are mainly used in chemistry laboratory or other science laboratory also. In space, algae is also used as a source of oxygen in spaceship. Not only oxygen, besides the source of oxygen is also used as a source of food in space. As food, Algae are eaten as salads, soups, as they're having high rich on to nutrient content. So it's also used as a food. Now the last point is that in agriculture, blue-green algae helps in nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation means the process by which they absorb the nitrogen from the air and convert it into nitrate and thus make the soil more fertile. So they can be used as a fertilizer. Besides the blue-green algae, some seaweeds are also used as fertilizers. Seaweeds means the weeds that are found in the sea. These are also algae and used as a fertilizers because they make the soil more fertile, increase their water holding capacity also. So they are used as a fertilizer. And the process of nitrogen fixation we have already studied in the previous bacteria that what is nitrogen fixation. These are the usefulness of algae. Some algae are also harmful. Number one is that toxic. Toxic mean harmful substances that are produced by some algae and they causes water pollution, especially the marine algae, and also affect the growth of fishes in the water. So toxic effect means some algae produces some toxin or toxic substances which are very harmful and causes water pollution and also affect the fish growth. Number two is parasitic. We know that parasites mean the living organisms that depend on other organisms. So some algae are parasitic in nature and they causes several kind of diseases. Also damages textiles and buildings. We have already seen that a multi-stored building, if it is not used for several years or not repaired properly, algae growth occurs on the wall, on the roof. Similarly, textiles are also damaged by some algae. And number four is the water pollution. As I already told that it produces toxic substances, not only affect the growth of fishes, also change the color of the water and the taste of water. It becomes bluish or greenish in color. The water become polluted. These are the harmful effect of algae. Now we have to write the questions. Number one, give examples of blue green algae and green algae. So you have to write from this scientific name. You must underline the words. Number two, what are diatoms? Definition of diatoms are given here. Write it in the copy. Next, why blue green algae is useful? Blue green algae is useful because you have to write this portion because it helps in nitrogen fixation, uses fertilizer and makes the soil more fertile. So blue green algae are very useful. Write some harmful effects of algae. The 4 points we have to write it. And the last, write two uses of algae. Among there are so many uses, you may write any two uses in medicine purpose, in industrial uses or in agriculture uses as you wish. But no need to write the full PDF notes. Just only write the given questions. Okay. Thank you.